So Crunchyroll has just released a trailer for Solo Leveling Season 2, and in the video I made about Season 1, I said that I might go on to read the manhwa. And that I did. So the first part of this video is just gonna be me talking about how good the next few seasons are going to be of this show. Spoiler free for anyone who just wants to know what they're in store for. And then I'll give my thoughts on some moments in the manhwa near the end, because I have a few. I've been hit with a double whammy today. I have a cough and I have bad hay fever. I'm going to die. But anywho, Solo Leveling Season 2, man, oh my god, it is going to be a good one. It's hard to judge whereabouts in the manhwa that the Season 2 is going to take place, because right after the events of Season 1, things pick up quick, bro. He goes from being the little itty bitty guy who almost lost to Igris to being god level, and I'm not even joking, I mean god level, bro. And of course, watching the show, you see that he just constantly levels up and stuff, but there is so much more to this story than I expected there to be. Actually, that's a lie. I called it in my last video, so if you don't want to be spoiled, do not watch my Solo Leveling video, because I did predict the future because I'm so smart. But like, it's hard to talk about this without spoiling it, but like, yous are in for such a treat, bro. It's hard to explain. The story of Jin Wu's power fantasy, bro, just takes off, and it gets so cool, man. Because obviously, yeah, as I said, you know that he endlessly levels, so he's obviously going to become a menace at some point. But it happens sooner than you think. And I think there's about, 180 chapters or something of the manhwa. And I heard stuff about like the ending having to be rushed because the artist who was working on it ended up passing away. If that's the truth, rest in peace. But I'm excited to see what they can do. In the actual trailer, they kind of show a moment with the polar bears, and that moment in and of itself is actually so fucking sick, bro. We get to learn a lot more about Jin Wu's abilities and like how he can use his abilities in service of others as well. It's not just for himself. Like, for example, they end up in this little snowy area and Jin Wu just starts pulling out these really warm coats for everyone to wear, and it's kind of like the first actual like moment where he uses something from his inventory for somebody else. But you learn a lot more about his actual abilities, and him as a person, he changes a lot in this next few seasons. And by the end of the next season coming up, which actually comes out in November, which is sick, he's going to be an entirely different fucking being, bro. And I don't mean just in terms of strength, I mean in terms of demeanor, in terms of everything. And that's the one thing that I was a bit upset about, because Jin Wu from the beginning was so upbeat, so happy, so like happy-go-lucky. He was selfless. He put himself into situations that he knew that he might not walk out of because he needed to provide for his family. And that core aspect of his character stays true till the very end. He becomes like the stoic type, if you know what I mean. But there is an explanation story-wise as to why he's becoming like this, and he actually does mention it when he was fighting that assassin guy in the last season. He says something along the lines of, oh, there goes another piece of me broken, or something like that. And that was like kind of the first indication as to what is actually happening in the bigger picture, because there is a lot of time where you just see Jin Wu being an absolute menace to society, which is the fun part of the entire thing. But it goes on for a little bit, and it was enjoyable, don't get me wrong, but it kind of makes you believe that there isn't a bigger picture to the whole thing. And then all of a sudden, bam, you get hit with the lore, bro, and the lore goes deep. But yeah, you 100% should be excited for Season 2. Season 2 is going to knock Season 1 out of the water, bro. And that's saying a lot with like episode 6 where he kills all the hunters, the fight with Igris, the fight with the fucking three-headed dog. There is a lot of good in Season 1, but Season 2, my guy, is going to be something special. Because in Season 1, you see him go up against the three-headed dog, but he goes up against this monstrous being and almost gets his fucking shit rocked. And if you remember, the whole reason he was doing that is so he could get into the demon castle. And if my calculations are correct, I believe that is when Season 2 is going to end off, at the end of the demon castle arc. I really hope they don't do it where they kind of get up to that point and then end the season on a cliffhanger for the demon castle, because the demon castle is where the tides really change, man. He comes out the other end of that castle a new fucking man. And there is a lot of cool moments during that arc as well that I'm really excited for you guys to see. But right, now we're gonna get into spoiler territory. If you don't want to hear any spoilers and you want to go in with a fresh mind, I don't fucking blame you. Click off now, leave a like on the video, by the way, don't forget that part, and subscribe. I like subscribers. One of the parts in the story that made me think again for like maybe the 75th time while fucking watching this thing, that Jin Wu is the GOAT, is when he finds out that in the Infinity Castle he is able to get like the elixir of life, I think it's called, where it can cure basically any ailment that anyone has. So he literally goes and fights through castles of demons to save his mother. what a man. And I just love how much more like powerful he is by the end of it, because obviously he's coming up against these like really fucking strong enemies. But that's one thing that I feel like the anime is going to do better than the manhwa, is it's going to show like a sense of time a bit better. Because if you're reading at your own pace and you're kind of like I was kind of like flying through it until like I saw panels that looked cool and I kind of stopped and stared a little bit. But as soon as I finished reading, I was gone on to the next one, you know? So my sense of time of that whole time in the demon castle was kind of a bit iffy. It felt a bit quick to me, especially judging how strong he became by the end of it. But the demon castle part, I feel like will be better in the anime for that reason alone. Like, it will give you a bigger sense of struggle at the start, and it will give you a bigger like scale of how strong he is during it, you know? But that leads me on to Juu Island, bro. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Juu Island has to be my favorite show of Jin Wu's power, because I'm a sucker for stuff like this in power fantasy type of shows and animes and whatever you may call it, where the protagonist actually shows his true abilities to the side characters who had no idea how strong he was. And in Solo Leveling, there is no shortage of that. But if you read the manhwa, you know what happens in Juu Island. A few other countries team up with South Korea to help with the ant invasion of Juu Island. But I loved seeing all the S-rank hunters that we've already known from the story, along with the new ones that we've been introduced with, fuck some shit up on the island. But the part I want to talk about is when they finally kill the queen and Bayu arises. This is the first moment in the manhwa where my jaw genuinely dropped. Like, my jaw was dropped so long I almost started drooling on my desk, bro. I was shocked. Just look at this frame of Bayu, bro. It is sick. But Bayu comes into the game and he fucks some shit up. He spares no expense, my guy. I'm terrible with Asian names and stuff like that, so I'm not going to be able to remember them, I'm sorry. But he fucks up most of the squad and just goes on an absolute rampage looking for the king. That's when he shows up to the top S rank of the Japanese hunters. The hunter turns around and says that he is the king because he's a fucking badass, and in the blink of an eye, my guy's head hits the pavement. But then Bayu comes back to the main squad asking for the king, and just as he's going in for a finishing blow on somebody, Jin Wu's shadow monsters come out to play. And this is when it happens, man. Jin Wu switches with his shadow monsters and he faces off against Bayu in one of the most immaculate shows of power I've ever witnessed. Absolutely fucks up Bayu in terms of strength. Jin Wu's shadow monsters are fucking up all the ants. Obviously Jin Wu, as soon as he arrived, fucked up many of the ants himself, to the surprise of a lot of the S ranks. Literally in the span of like a minute of Jin Wu being on the battlefield, bro, he heals all of the injured S ranks, kills many of the ants, goes toe to toe against Bayu. Bayu tries to switch up his approach because he realizes that Jin Wu is just stronger than him, so he tries to fuck him up with speed. But unlucky for our boy Bayu here, he did not realize that Jin Wu is efficient in speed himself, and he fucks up Bayu with efficiency. So I think it's safe to say Jin Wu single-handedly fucking saved Juu Island, bro, and all of the hunters. But the final moment I want to talk about is the ending, because I'm not much of a fan of the ending, because all these demons come out of the portals and they start some fucking shit. A lot of national level hunters die, even after Jin Wu told everyone to evacuate, like Canada and stuff just didn't listen, and a lot of people end up dying because of this, and a huge battle breaks out. And we even get a moment with Jin Wu's father, who was locked in a dungeon for so many years, and Jin Wu finally gets to say goodbye to his father, and it's one of the first moments you see Jin Wu have emotion in like a long time. Like, after the battle's won, Jin Wu finally fucks the cunts up, he wins the fucking fight, he decides it's not good enough, and he gets one of the godlike creatures to use the last of their potion to revert time, and it reverts it so he is a child again, but he still has all of the powers that he had in the old timeline. So he kind of gets to relive his childhood and stuff again, which I did enjoy. I thought that was pretty cool. But the moment that really annoyed me was when he goes back in, and I think he spends like 20 odd years fighting these demons again. And before I carry on with that, there was parts that really annoyed me as well. It's like these big fucking like menacing creatures that have been built up from the beginning, even with the anime, come to fuck shit up, and Jin Wu wins the fights with them, but it happens off screen. We don't actually see the fight between them. We just see Jin Wu turn up, hit them with one move, they get a bit startled, and then afterwards it just cuts to other characters, and then later on we find out that Jin Wu killed those guys, which I wish we got to see a bit more of that. But yeah, obviously after the 20-year stint, Jin Wu ends up fucking up the guys again, but then when he goes back to his world, everything's different. Everyone else that died is alive, but none of the powers that they had, or none of the hunters, exist anymore, and everything's just different now. Everything is completely different, and I just didn't really enjoy that part. I kind of wish that it would have reverted back to his timeline where everyone still had the memories of him, they still knew him. I feel like a better way that they could have done it would be like to revert time back a few months before the battle started. Then Jin Wu go in, defeat all the demons, and then when he comes back out of the portal, the people that he knows would still be the people that he knows, and they would still have memories of him, but like just take away their powers at that point, you know? I feel like that would be a bit more interesting, seeing the characters that had all of these special fantastical abilities getting them taken away from them, and then having to learn how to live without them in that way, you know? Because I feel like the way that they did do it in this, the people that he knows and loves, yes, they are still alive, but it's a different timeline. They're not going to be the exact same people. They're not going to have all the struggles and stuff that their past self would have had, so they could be literally completely different people. I don't know, you can just kind of spin it in too many different ways to make it not make sense, you know? I could make another video going over how I would have personally ended it, and I'll do like a proper actual like written storyline type of thing, because this is just from the top of my noggin. I haven't really thought about this in a while, but maybe that's why they extended it to 6 seasons. Hopefully they're going to change it a bit, show a bit more. But I'm going to end this video off now because I am actually sweating right now. It is so hot. But I hope you enjoyed. I hope I didn't babble on a bit too much. I was meant to make this video a long time ago, but the trailer kind of re-sparked that, and I definitely want to talk about it now. The story of Solo Leveling as a whole, I really fucking enjoyed. I really liked it. I liked how much more deep it went than I expected originally. And I am so excited to see it animated, man. I cannot wait. But yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. Comment down below what you thought of the video. Comment down below what you want to see in the next video. But yeah, let me know what you thought of the story down below. Let me know what you would change about the story. So put it down below and we'll have a discussion about it. I love like hearing other people's thoughts on stuff like this. But yeah, ladies and gents, with that all said, it's been EXO. Make sure to subscribe. We're on the road to 1K by the end of the year. And if we do hit that mark by the end of the year, I'm going to be jumping out of a plane and I'm going to be bringing you all with me. But yeah, before I collapse sitting down, I'll talk to you all later. Hope you have a good one. And yeah, it's been EXO. I'll talk to you all later.